Welcome back to another episode of Hong Dynasty. I'm your host, Jimmy. This is my co-host, Deborah. And together, we're going to give y'all relationship advice. So this is the second episode. Before I go into the second episode, make sure if you haven't seen the first one, click on the link here above. Go back and watch that first. And also, if you haven't subscribe now, like this video, and share it. Tell all your friends about it. That helps us put more content out for y'all. So,
yes, and thankfully he's wearing the right watch.
Yes, and I had the right watch on today. So yeah, after our first video, all of our friends, everyone that's been watching this video has been bugging us and blowing us up about the second part of the story that my wife left off on that last episode. So make sure, if you haven't watched the last episode yet, make sure you click on that link and watch it. Before we go into the story that you left everyone hanging on a cliff with, we want to do a recap, 2 important points from the last episode. 1, is there someone out there really the one for you? And also, importance of friendships in a relationship.
Yeah, that's really good. And we are excited to continue this story. So, quick recap of where we are in the story is, at this point, we have been dating for a little while. Jimmy still in the Marine Corps, and he's about to go off for another, basically deployed for a training.
Yeah, I really want to call it a deployment. It's more of a training. I had to do a month-long training exercise in Morocco with the Marine Corps. And it'll be the first time that you and I had left each other for a significant time.
Right, and these sort of things, it's not just a month where we could call and text each other all day.
Oh, yeah.
It was a month of complete...
There was zero communication between us. I was out in the middle of the desert.
And he's going from the crack of dawn all the way, till he goes to sleep. Yeah, after sunset, really. We had decided, because, it was our first time, having no communication for an entire month.
And you gotta let them know, you like having communication. That's one of your love languages, is spending time.
Is that quality
talking.
time.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we actually, at that time, we didn't quite know how long it was going to be that you were going to be gone.
Yeah,
because the Marine Corps... They always like to save it to last minute.
Yeah. If you're watching this and you have any experience with the military, you know how it is. You never know anything until the day of.
Yeah, and even then, it seemed like they were still trying to figure out the plan. So
no knock on the Marine Corps. That's just...
Yeah, we love the Marine Corps. I mean, some of the bravest people I've ever met. And so I definitely... It wasn't that I knew, okay, he was going to be on 30 days. I can do this. It was like he might be gone 30 days. He might be gone 45 days. He might, they might, come back earlier than that. We don't know. We'll see. Just play it by ear. It was a lot of uncertainty. And so we had decided to write each other a letter for every single day.
For 30 days.
For 30 days, hoping that he would only be gone 30 days. And
I came back a little earlier, didn't I?
I think you did, but they did.
A couple of days.
They went back and forth. They said, oh, you're going to stay longer. Oh, we're going to go back.
Yeah. So, but if I remember correctly, I came back a little earlier.
Yeah.
A couple of days earlier, yeah.
Which was a sweet surprise. But anyway, he was about to leave. It was a week away from him leaving. We had already started writing each other these letters, 30 letters for each day, which I still have all of them.
Let me tell you something. Writing 30 letters... Lesson to anyone who thinks about doing that: do not procrastinate. Do not wait till the last day to write 30 letters.
Yeah, because you know what he started doing? He started drawing stick figure drawings to fill up the page.
I would put "Dear Deborah," and I would draw a stick figure of you in South Carolina, a stick figure of me in Africa, and I would say, "This is us. We're looking at the same moon. I love you."
But that was so sweet, though. But yeah, that definitely isn't his favorite thing to do, is to write these long letters all in one time, in one sitting. Luckily for me, I actually spanned it out, so I gave him some good content.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're sitting on the couch, and I said, I'm going to miss you so much.
And I said, I can't wait to go to see if I miss you.
And immediately there, it was a red flag for me. I was like, whoa, this is it was like my brain was going off. Red flag. Like, what is going on right here?
And
so then I responded.
Well, if you want to see if you're going to miss me, you could leave right now and don't come back.
Yeah. Because like I explained in the first part of this video is that, I had known Jimmy had experienced rejection from previous relationships, and he was expecting me to kind of do the same thing, yet I had never shown any signs of doing that. So it wasn't fair to me. And so immediately right then I knew if I didn't set a boundary, if I wasn't bold with my response and I didn't respect myself, he would never respect me, and he would treat me almost like a yo-yo. If, whenever he feels that rejection, there I would go again, being slung around. Whereas if I were to say, hey, you can't, there's no fear in love. So if you love me, then you can't be afraid that I'm going to hurt you. We have to be all in. We have to be willing to take that risk. And I knew that that's what I wanted, and that was a healthy relationship. And what I had seen displayed right there was we had been making so much progress, and then all of a sudden I saw him retreat. I saw him kind of run away. And immediately I'm not going to go chase after him and chase after you going, love me, miss me, why are you rejecting me before I can reject you? I'm not going to do that. I have to show him
that you respect
that
yourself.
I respect myself first, because if I didn't respect and value myself, then you would not be able to see my value. I wasn't able.
Respect you. I would use you.
Yeah, you would use me, or you would think it's okay to walk in that immaturity, that relational immaturity. So then you left my house that night. You tried to call me because we usually, as you were on your way home, because you lived about 30 minutes away, we would talk to each other on the way home.
Yeah, you would keep me awake.
Yeah, because he was always tired. He still is always tired.
I am always tired.
That's just the state of being for you. Basically, you left, you went home, and I didn't answer your phone call.
Yeah, I called you multiple times. You didn't answer.
The next day.
Well, no, that night, I think. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that time. There was another night I went to your house and left a note for you because I had made you upset. But
there are many of these times. But
I think this was the one that stuck out the most.
This was
because this
a
was
pivotal.
This was a defining moment in our relationship.
It was. What I did right here, I think, was the most important line and boundary drawn to show that I see myself as more precious than rubies. That's what Proverbs says about, as ladies, and we need to see ourselves like that. All women and men, we are more precious than rubies. And so I realized right there, okay, he's not treating me like I'm more precious than rubies, so I have to show him how I need to be treated.
And another thing too was I wasn't completely healed. I was still speaking from past hurts.
Exactly.
So
and you were kind of putting that off on me.
Yes. Advice. This is not what we were wanting to talk about, but I spoke to her through past hurts, meaning I wasn't completely healed yet. So before you go into a relationship, this is a serious relationship, you have to fix yourself. You have to work on what's broken inside of you, and you have to fix that, because if you bring that into a relationship, you are going to either hurt the other person, or you are going to break them as well.
Yeah, or you'll almost self-sabotage.
Yeah, it's like there's a song.
You were self-sabotaging right then.
Yeah, I was self-sabotaging. There's a song. Yeah, so if you're a hurt person, you're going to hurt somebody else.
Yeah, so that's really good. And he was speaking from that place, and I knew he was speaking from that place, and I was like, no, that's not okay.
And she wasn't going to show me no grace.
No, not then, because
I know.
It was this part of the relationship where it needed to be. Yeah,
because it had to show me that I cannot view things through the lenses of rejection, because that's how I would always view everything.
Everything, and that was a natural propensity for you.
Yeah.
So then, the very next day, I didn't answer any of your phone calls, any of your texts. Well, I mean, you were blowing me up.
Yeah, I knew she was mad at me. I knew you were extremely mad at me.
And you already missed me, and you knew it.
Yeah. So I came to a crossroads in our relationship. I had to decide whether I was going to trust you and know that you were for real about your commitment to me as I was to you. So I came to that crossroads, and I had to decide, do I love her, or is she just gonna ditch me like everyone else? And I had to come to those crossroads, and I knew in order for it to work, I had to work at it.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, I knew if our relationship was going to work, I had to work at it. And that meant doing things I didn't want to do, like write a letter for every day for 30 days.
Yeah. Things that got you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, things that got me out of my comfort zone, I knew I was going to have to do because I knew that you were willing to do it. So, you know, I knew you were mad at me. I knew you wanted nothing to do with me because, you know, you're extremely mad. So I had to
rise to the occasion.
I had to rise to the occasion, you know.
And you had to show that you were willing to face that rejection, overcome it, and mature and show me, like, this is the real deal. Like, that you were the real deal.
And that I was serious about our relationship.
Yeah. So the very next day, I was ignoring everything. And even though he thought I was coming across, like, really strong, like I was this strong, confident woman and I don't need no man, I was in my room crying, you know. It was difficult for me too, but I knew, like, Deborah, you're more precious than rubies. And if you don't show him that you believe that right now, he will never believe it the rest of your life. And so, like, my mom always told me growing up, she said, a few tears now is better than a lifetime full of tears. And so I think that a lot of times we trade in, you know, just a few tears and do the hard stuff now in the beginning of a relationship. And we rather just go with unhealthy codependent type lifestyles and then cry the rest of our life because of it. Yeah. And so that afternoon,
I got creative. You want to grab the poster board real quick?
Yeah.
So this poster board is, let's say 2000. I went to Africa in 2011. So this poster board is almost 9 years old. So this...
And I've kept it.
We're going to pass this on to our children. By the way, if you did not know, we have an 18-month-old child named Jonathan. You probably saw him in the intro part of it. And we also have another one baking in the oven. His name is Asher. But anyway, we're going to pass this on to them as well. We'll cut it in half. The top half for one, the bottom half for the other. Anyway, I started thinking, I was like, how can I show her that I love her and that I care about her? So what I did was I got this big neon green poster board because she could not miss it. I knew that she was going to do some recording in the studio later. So what I did was I wrote this lovely message. It says, Debs, I am super duper sorry. Please forgive me. Yes, no. And I stuck it in front of her garage, right in front of her car, because I knew she would see it. Down here it says... I
mean, it's neon green, like, and it's on a white garage door. How could I miss it?
It says, P.S. There's a secret on the back if you checked yes or no. So either way, either she decided not to forgive me or to forgive me. There's a secret on the back because that was my last-ditch effort to try to win her heart back.
That's good.
So if you flip it over, it says, I love you. Yep, I do. And in here, I wrote her a note.
It was a long letter,
too. It was a long letter.
It was probably better than all 30 letters you wrote combined.
I wrote a letter on here. I sprinkled some water on it to look like teardrops, like I had cried while writing it.
I never knew that.
No, I just made that up.
Oh.
But yeah, I left that here. So either if she did forgive me or didn't forgive me, she was going to have to read it. I also gave her my dog tags as well. Just because, you know, it's one of those cheesy things military men do. They give their women their dog tags, let them know, hey, I love you, kind of thing. It's like a pre-ring.
That's good.
So anyway, she read it. She still did not call me. I did all this. She still didn't call me.
Girls, you got to leave them hanging.
So I called her, and she answered. I remember this day. I called her. She finally answered.
I was wiping away tears, trying to sound all
She's
strong.
Like, yeah. I said, and I knew she got this poster board because I drove by the house and it was taken down. So I knew she got it. So
okay, now that part's kind of creepy.
Really?
Yeah, like you were just going around the neighborhood over and over again?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to... So anyway, I saw it was taken down, so I called her. I said, hey, did you get my note? She said, yeah. And I said, well, she said, I have to go record now. Can't talk. And then she hung up. I was like, what the heck? So then I go home moping, just moping around the house. I was like Eeyore. Oh, my girl left me. My girl left me. So anyway, my sister
you were
was
being stupid.
Yeah, I was being stupid. So my sister was home. She's like, what is your problem? And I said, Deborah's breaking up with me. And she asked what happened. I just gave her a real quick recap. And she said, well, if you love her and you really care about her, you need to go do something about it. I said, well, what do I do? I thought I did the sweetest thing anyone could do. And she still doesn't know if she's going to forgive me. She said, every girl loves flowers. Da da da. So I went, bought flowers. I went to where y'all were recording, and I met up with her there.
In front of everybody.
No, it's just Lance there at the time, because you were like, go, go. Because you didn't want everyone to see.
Oh.
Because
I think people still saw, and I like that you weren't afraid to be vulnerable in front of people.
Well, Lance saw it for sure. I saw her smile. She said, I love you. And then she shooed me out the door. And I knew at that moment it was all gravy.
I knew at that moment that he had a crossroads, because the reason why you were afraid and you were trying to reject me before I could reject you was because of that fear of rejection and commitment.
Yeah. So that was something I had to work on in myself, was I had to learn to overcome rejection. And it's funny now, because what I do career-wise, I face rejection every day. But since I learned to overcome it early, it doesn't stop me. It doesn't bother me. And the reason why we told you this story is because sex complicates a lot of things. And if we were having sex at this moment, see, the thing is, people will try to use sex to fix a problem. People will try to use sex
like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, it's like a Band-Aid. They try to use it. But if you don't go to the core problem, those problems will still come up. And you and I see relationships all the time that go through the same cycle over and over again.
Because they never went to the root.
Yeah, they never went to the root. So before we didn't have sex until we got married. And that was a great night.
Oh my God.
If we had brought sex into our relationship at that point, if we had sex, it would have fixed the problem for a day, 2 days, maybe a week.
Maybe a month.
Who knows? But the same things would have come up again. I would have feared rejection. I would have rejected her, and it would have been a nonstop cycle.
And at that moment, because of the bond, there's actually a bond that happens when you have sex with somebody. It's a chemical bond. It's not only a soul bond, it's an actual chemical bond to that person. Like, you wonder, like, why can't I get over, my first love, maybe the first person you slept with or whatever. And that's why, because we were created, like, when we have sex with someone, that we're bonded to them, spirit to spirit, soul to soul, body to body. And so if we were to already been introducing sex during this part, then I don't know if I would have really had the courage to stand up for my self-worth, because I think I would have been more afraid of you leaving me. I believe it would have created a codependent relationship. And once you kind of create that codependent sort of relationship, it is really hard to untangle that. And for the guy and the girl to see each other rightly, I wanted you to see me as I was valuable more than any sort of rubies. And you wanted me to see you as someone who is worth not rejecting, but fighting for, loving, and caring about. And so how are we going to actually do this if we had already entangled ourselves with introducing sex? Yeah. And like you said, people do use it as a Band-Aid.
Try to fix a problem. So girls out there, respect yourself, value yourself. Don't throw your panties at a guy just because he has a charming smile or he looks sexy and he's threatening to leave you if you don't sleep with him. Save yourself, respect yourself, value yourself.
Because ultimately you'll be happier. Because if you have to walk away from someone who doesn't respect you, you're going to be happier having not given that part of you to them. And if you have, it's okay. Like you could pick up, you can move on. It's okay. It is what it is. The past is the past, but move on from here on out forward. Respect who you are. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you sound like. It doesn't matter what you feel like. It doesn't matter what your family's told you. None of that stuff matters. Yeah. Because if you see your value, you're not going to let somebody try to give you less than what you're worth.
Because the Bible talks about us being co-heirs to the throne. And God is a king of all kings. That means we are princes and princesses. Do princesses go chase after any other guy? No. They wait for the prince to pursue them, which leads us to our next point about men pursuing the woman.
Yeah, what does that even look like? I feel like a lot of people in today's culture, they don't even know what does it look like for a man to truly pursue somebody. And I think a lot of guys don't even know how to really pursue a girl.
Yeah. I want to give an example. I'm not sure if anyone out here has ever hunted, but right now in the spring, I'm getting our property that we have, I'm getting it ready to hunt for deer season. And in doing so, I'm having to do a lot of stuff. Put up tree stands, clear out lanes, plant seeds, put out corn. I mean, hours and hours and hours of work and a lot of money. Don't tell her that. But I'm doing that because I am pursuing the deer. I really want to get that deer to put meat in our freezer. But the reason I'm telling you that is the same thing in a relationship. I really like deer hunting. So when you really like something, you are going to do what it takes to achieve that. And it's the same thing in a relationship. Girls, if a guy does not truly love you or value you, you can tell by the effort he's putting into your relationship. If you are having to do everything in the relationship,
Yep.
the guy does not value you and he does not respect you.
Oh my God, I've seen this so many times where a guy will string a girl along because she brings him coffee and she cooks him dinner, or she'll have sex with him, and they're not even in a committed relationship. Or maybe he's saying he's committed, but he hasn't put a ring on her finger and said any sort of covenant vows to her to actually commit that she's the only one he wants. And I've seen this over and over and over again. And then the little girl is running around like a puppy dog, and the guy has already lost respect. He's already won her. It's not a pursuit.
Yeah, it's not a pursuit at that point because, like, why do I need to pursue you? You're giving me everything I want.
You're my servant.
Yeah, you're doing everything I want. You're cooking for me. You're cleaning for me. You're having sex with me.
You're playing wife without me having to commit to you. And girls, that is the short end of the stick.
Yep.
It's time that we demand more. It's time that we actually value ourselves and not just, love me. No one in my whole life has loved me, but you love me. That's not love.
That's him using you.
Exactly.
He's using you to have his needs met, his sexual needs, his physical needs, his life needs.
Yeah, you love you.
Yeah.
He won't love you until you love you.
Exactly.
Look in the mirror and say, I'm valuable. I'm not going to let anybody just have me. And this goes for guys too. Maybe you feel that way too. You just want that girl's attention, that girl that you've been waiting to give you attention. And then ever so often when she's desperate, she gives you a call and you meet her needs.
We just saw that in a movie.
What was that movie?
He's just not that into you, or he's just not that into you.
Yeah, it's not that great of a movie, but it had
Great
so
points.
many relationships we could dissect. But one of the main ones was this girl didn't even really love this guy. She'd only call him when she was desperate.
When she needed her needs met.
Yeah.
But this guy was like a puppy dog, just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
She called me. And he leaves one date with this amazing girl and immediately calls her. So guys can be desperate like that too. It's just we have to value ourselves.
And guys, that's why you have to work on yourself first, and you have to fix what's broken. You got to be healthy before you want a healthy relationship.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this more next time. We'll get into how to actually have a healthy relationship, like after marriage and maybe even like after engaged and things like that. Once you're in that committed part, like when you really know the person is the one, how to continue to grow that relationship. So we'll talk about that next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure if you haven't hit like. The link for the last video we posted will be in the description below. If you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, share this, tell all your friends. Always remember your worth.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.